All right, let's get the word out. Next, level. Let me see what I used for the mission objectives. Making games alone.
Look, I get it. The number one issue you have in making your indie game is probably time, right? You don't have the time or the energy to make your indie game. Well, I had a great conversation with John. He's the owner of...
Launch your online store in minutes, not weeks. All you need is man. An independent e-commerce website.
Believe it or not, you don't have to have a viral indie game to go full-time. That was true for me and also for my guest, Greg Lebanov. Greg has a ton of games under his belt: Coin Grip, Wandersong, Chicory, and Beastie Ball. None of these games were explosive or viral, yet they continue to bring in a full-time income for Greg and even his team. In this conversation, we talk about that. We talk about solo dev versus, well, working with a team and making games, which one he prefers, and also maybe which one he recommends for you. We also talk about Unity versus Unreal versus Godot versus his tool of choice, Game Maker. We talk about publishers and pitfalls of self-publishing versus working with publishers and getting funding for just your demo. And we also talk about the future of indie game dev, how AI is going to affect game devs. Is it something you should be scared of or something you should embrace? I think Greg's answer is actually going to surprise you. But before we get into the interview, I want to thank this video's sponsor, Milanote. Milanote is a tool for organizing all of your creative projects into freeform visual boards, which makes the creative process
I feel like AI
dynamic
helped
and
me.
customizable.
I wouldn't even get this
I
far
find it
on
especially
this
great
program.
for the early and messy stages of the
It's actually
project,
showing me
as
the
the tool
program.
is great for planning, brainstorming, and collaborating on ideas, while keeping everything nice and structured. It lets you add
I've been having
text,
these two open the
video,
whole
images,
time.
sketches, code snippets, full task
So I know I'm
boards,
gonna get
and
lost.
so much more. So you can easily keep track of your game's progress. For example, here's a project where I've structured several boards that cover different aspects of the development process, such as a brainstorming board, a mood board, so I can quickly start getting into the creative process, all while staying organized and not really losing notes or ideas along the way. On top of that, Milanote has over 100 pre-made templates to make it even easier to get started or simply get inspiration on how to best structure your workflow. Once you're ready to share your work, you can invite teammates and get feedback or collaborate with them in real time. This kind of collaboration is so important. I use it for my game Twisted Tower. I know plenty of other my game dev buddies do the same thing. On top of that, they also have a great mobile app which ensures you never lose an idea, even on the go. The best thing is that Milanote is available for free with no time limit, so I definitely encourage you to sign up for free and check it out below by simply using the link in the description. I was studying your portfolio and it's like, number one, you worked with publishers and sometimes you didn't.
Yeah.
And number two, is it true that some of your games were solo projects?
I don't think I've always had at least music that I did make in the games, and
that's pretty standard for solo devs though. So I
Right.
feel like you can still be classified as solo. You
Okay.
may hire up music.
So if you're saying music is separate, then yes, I've done some games that were solo minus that. I've kind of worked at every scale. So I did games that were like just me plus like public domain music, and me like plus a musician, me plus a sound designer and a musician, me plus an artist and a sound designer, me plus a programmer, and whatever. I've done a whole bunch of stuff. So yeah, I worked at a lot of scales, and I did web games, I did mobile games, I did RPGs, I did freeware games like freeware RPGs, and now I do commercial games on Steam and console games, and so I've been all over the place.
So was CoinCrypt solo? Solo?
CoinCrypt was solo for a lot of it, and then I brought on an artist for the last year of the project who redid a lot of the art that was in the game, and made it cleaned up. So the game that people know today uses that artist's art. His name is Tyler.
Okay. And Wander Song, is that solo?
Wander Song was me plus a sound designer and a musician. And their contributions were significant. I don't think you could say Wander Song is Wander Song unless you can, because it's a music game, right?
Sure.
So it's and that's why they were on it too. When I started making that game, I had the intention of doing all of the sound effects and music by myself, and it was not good. And I was I'm gonna fail. I'm gonna fail the idea of this game if the music and sound doesn't land on it.
Yep.
And that's why we had the Kickstarter for it, and that's why we hired people to do that stuff, because it was this game is only going to work if this stuff is high quality, and we worked closely. They contributed meaningfully to the story and stuff too.
Chicory.
And so Chicory was a 5-person, me, sound designer, musician, artists, and a sound designer helping sometimes as well. So. And the two artists were my roommates at the time, and then the same sound designer from Chicory, and then Glenna Rain doing music, who was the first time we had worked together. Yeah.
Was the developer of Celeste involved in that game?
Not directly. I was probably more involved in Celeste than they've ever been in the games that I've worked on. But we're very close. So we talk a lot. If there's so a lot of developers in Vancouver, we all do hang out and talk. But of all the studios in Vancouver, me and the Celeste EXOK team they're about the closest studio to me in terms of just how often we meet up and how closely linked our careers are and stuff like that. Yeah.
Beastie Ball, was that solo or
team?
Okay.
Capital T team. This is definitely a team game.
Okay, big old team game. Okay, great. So first question I have about this. I want to ask this because I know people listening, they want to know.
Yeah.
Most people listening right now are thinking, I want to be a solo developer. I want to go solo. And it's because it seems simpler, right? How does, let's say, the very simplistic, almost solo Coin Crypt and Wandersong life, how does that compare to this bigger team life?
It is different. I mean, so I still feel on Beastie Ball like I'm calling a lot of the shots. So I say team because like production quality for the art and the audio and programming, like all this stuff is and the design. So like every aspect of the game has someone helping with it and they're raising the bar on it. But at the end of the day, all those people are still answering to me. You know, like I'm getting the fine. Like it doesn't really feel like it doesn't like how do I say, like I'm still directing everybody. So like there's already an art director who's separate from me, who's deciding what the game looks like. Like I decide what the game looks like, or at least have like a huge hand in it. So I've never worked on like a AAA scale, right? Like really big team, and I have like Beastie Ball is like you could say about 10 people working on it, which is not, you know. So I guess I can't speak to like bigger than that. I guess is what I'm saying, just to context. It does feel different. I like it because at least I consider myself a social person, and I actually really like that I get to talk to people all the time, and they inject, like the people who work with me on Beastie Ball inject so much creativity and energy into it, and that part's really exciting to me, because I can actually start to really feel like a fan of the game, because not every part of it was done by me, right? Like when someone does a really good animation on the game, or like adds like a, you know, like designs like a really cool encounter, like I can be like, I love that, you know, and I can really feel that like in the way where when I do it on myself, I don't get to appreciate. So that energy I appreciate a lot. I do, but on the other hand, I do sometimes miss like the flexibility. It's not really even the it's not like it's like we have like creative battles, because actually everyone on the team is like smarter than me at the stuff they do. Like they're making the game better. Like it's like I don't like, there's no friction when it comes to that. The only friction is just that it's that the game is so big. We couldn't make this game without all the people working on it. So like I don't regret having them or anything like that.
And what game is this, by the way, Greg?
Oh, Beastie Ball.
Okay, Beastie Ball. Okay, because I know you released that. Was it November last year?
Yes. So
are you still working on it?
Yeah, it's in early access, so we're still actively developing it. Yeah.
Wait, so you're willing to say that Beastie Ball was a mistake? While it's not even done yet?
A game whose development was in the genre of mistake genre. It's like it's a game that should. Well, I mean, look, I'm very proud of it. I think we landed, and I think it's amazing. Yeah. Totally, I say this, but it's just that it's the kind of development style that usually doesn't go well. I agree in the sense that my game. I'll shut up. I interrupted you, but my game, I know what you're saying, because I feel that way about my game right now. It's like, this probably shouldn't have been made in this economical context. It's a linear first-person game, first-person shooter. It's like a BioShock-style game. It's like, wow, in 2025, you really want to do this, Thomas? You know, you want to spend 3 years doing that? So sorry to interrupt, but I know what you're feeling. Yeah, because I mean, a lot of games are in that. Yeah. You know, and I feel like I only allowed myself to make a swing like this because I made so many games, that did okay, and we had enough kind of funding around that we could afford a little bit of a risk. Yeah. And that's the only reason why I took, you know, and this like Beastie Ball, this is like lifetime dream game. Like this is what it's like a game I've always wanted to make that I never felt ready to do, that I couldn't do myself. So, and this is when I was, you know, now's the time. I have the resources, I have the team. You know, I could finally make this game, and again, like I'm saying that it was hard, and there were a lot of things about it that, like, you know, it wasn't like the smartest choice. I don't regret it. I'm really happy we did it, and but also I would never do this again. I think. I don't know. I will talk to me again in like 3 years, but like I feel like this effort right now is worth it for this game, and but it's not like a smart. Like I wouldn't recommend it. You know. Right.
Well, I mean, as it pertains to a team, you know, do you feel like if they heard you say that right now, because they'll probably listen to the podcast, would they be disappointed in you? No. Or are you guys honest about this with each other? Like, man, you know?
Yeah, I hope they would understand. Yeah, I mean, because we all come from we're friends, you know, and we all come from the we're all people who are multi-talented.
My internet acting food right now.
Welcome to our last film.
In the game, trying to listen my pound. To the nigga, I ain't trying to.
It's now been a month since I released my first game, Punch-a-Bunch, on Steam. The game spent the entire first week at the top of the popular new releases tab. It's currently sitting at 84% positive, which is honestly a lot higher than I expected, and I'm absolutely thrilled so many of you like the game. After release, I looked through all the negative reviews on Steam to see what I could improve about the game. I thought I had caught most issues, but of course, you all managed to find a bunch of bugs and other problems I never encountered myself. The worst bug by far is what I've started referring to as the freeze bug of death. Instantly after release, lots of people started reporting that the game would freeze after defeating the first boss, specifically here during the next opponent screen. The strange part is that nothing is happening at this moment. Like, I really mean nothing. It's not loading the next level or anything else for that matter. Only the UI animation you see playing is what's happening. That's it. And yet, everyone seems to be freezing at almost the exact same moment, right here. It really doesn't make any sense at all, and I've never, not once, encountered this during the development of the game. Because I wasn't able to reproduce this bug myself, I had no way of troubleshooting, so the only thing I could think to do was to recreate this entire scene from scratch and remove all animations and just have it fade on, which really sucks because I was actually really proud of how all these elements were sliding in with the sound effects. Well, it seems that this did fix the problem for like 99% of you, so I guess it was worth it in the end, but it's really quite upsetting. I just cannot understand why this was happening. It really doesn't make any sense at all. Well, anyways, the game is still randomly freezing for a very small amount of people, but more in random places here and there, so I guess that's just how the cookie crumbles. For most people, simply reinstalling the game seems to fix this issue. Aside from bugs, the most consistent feedback is that the game is very unfair and punishing in some cases. For example, the Vikings Rampage attack comes out of nowhere and is unblockable, so if you're caught in it, you may very well end up losing the fight. My thinking with this fight was that you need to manage distance with the opponent and always expect the Rampage attack to show up, thus forcing you to play very defensively, but most people just found this mechanic frustrating and unfair, which I can understand. And same thing with the puppet. Its spin attack is insanely fast with almost no wind-up, and also stunts you, which is even worse. Basically, some of the opponents don't have enough telegraphing for the player to have a fair chance to react. But personally, I think the most glaring issue here is that there is no way for the player to know whether an incoming attack is blockable or not. So the player has to play the opponents repeatedly and memorize all the attacks, which I agree is not fair and not really any fun either. So to fix this, I implemented a similar mechanic to Sekiro, where an alert fires off anytime an unblockable attack is about to hit you. I think this feels a lot more fair to play now, and this update received a lot of positive feedback as well, so I think I'm pretty happy with the solution. It feels a lot better. I also added a longer wind-up time to the Vikings Rampage attack so that the player has a chance to back off, and same thing with the puppet as well. So with the added time to react and the alert, the player should have enough time to recognize that something is about to strike them. I think this is a lot better. The puppet is still a controversial topic in the Steam discussions. Some of you feel like it's way too difficult still, but I have to disagree. I mean, this is, after all, one of the last opponents in the game, and if you do learn his patterns in practice, you will be able to beat him 100% consistently. Since I made the game in Unreal Engine, it's by default munching a lot of computer power, and it doesn't exactly help that you can't change any graphical settings at all, which people weren't too happy about. As most of you might know, the best way to improve performance is to simply lower the resolution, but for some reason the game was really prone to crashing when switching the resolution, so I decided to remove even that feature for the release of the game. Not ideal, I know, but anyways, a similar crash would occur when alt-tabbing out of the game as well. And big thanks to my good friend Mike for finding a solution to this online. Apparently this is caused by a bug in the version of Unreal Engine I'm using, and the fix for this was to simply add this line of code into one of the game engine files. And to my pleasant surprise, this also fixed the crash when changing resolution, so I was able to add that feature back into the game as well, which really seems to have helped a lot of people with performance.
Arenas with crowds also seem to increase lag on weaker systems, so I added an option to disable those as well. So hopefully the game is running pretty smooth now for everybody. And of course, some people found a way to cheese the AI by simply spamming the punch button like this, which made the game way too easy. It does require some precise timing and practice to do this, but once you get it right, it's pretty easy to beat the entire game this way. I was actually really happy with the AI, and I didn't think it was possible to cheese it, but I was wrong. So the problem is, when you take damage in the game, there's a brief window when you are unable to block, and because the AI is playing by the same rules as you are, if you get the timing right, you can keep punching, and the AI is not able to block even though it's trying to. A simple solution, of course, would be to just reduce the time before the AI can block after taking damage, but that would feel like the AI is cheating, which I'm not a big fan of. So, instead, to fix this problem, I reprogrammed the AI slightly so that if it's making the decision to block, but it notices that it can't block, it will attempt to dash out of harm's way and start leaning away from the player, thus making it a little trickier to land punches during that small window when the AI can't block. I noticed that this cheese is easier to trigger if you just punch with one hand, so I also changed the game so that if you use the same hand more than twice in sequence, you'll lose whatever adrenaline you've built up, as indicated by the flames around your portrait. Keeping your adrenaline high is vital to perform this cheese, as it'll allow you to keep throwing fully powered strikes without ever running out of stamina. These are all very small changes that shouldn't impact how the game plays really too much, but it did seem to fix the cheese mechanic, so I think this was a pretty good solution. Of course, it's pretty easy to stun-lock the earlier opponents in the game if you know what you're doing, but that's different, and it's an intentional design of the game, so I don't mind that. When I released the game, I had to reuse music for some bosses because I didn't have enough time to create songs for each opponent. I'm still very new to making music, so it takes me quite a while to make even just one song. I think repeating songs is okay to a certain extent, but some of them got a bit repetitive, so I've been sneaking in some more songs whenever I finish one. Here's a quick sample of some new ones.
Chicken fajita sliders, crispy chicken, peppers, onions, and a little kick. Crave die castle.
Looks like Amazon understood the assignment. Welcome to Celebrity Substitute, where Amazon delivers everything our star substitutes need to help their students ace the day. Find it all on Amazon.
Speaking of music, I received a lot of criticism that the songs are good, but could use better mastering. Now, I barely know what mastering even means, so I'm sure you're right. I thought they sounded pretty good, but then again, I'm listening to them through these headphones, so yeah. Anyways, I'll see if I can improve the quality of the songs a bit, and then I'll post the full soundtrack right here on YouTube so you can listen to it. Reason to go back and improve their skill by completing these challenges before they can move on. But most players found this tedious and very unsatisfying, considering that they had just beat the previous series, which in itself is pretty hard. Some people even quit the game after realizing they needed to collect more stars to unlock the next championship, which is not good.
30 seconds less.
No, I don't think I'll ever get all the stars. There ain't no way I'm getting to the end of the game.
So in the end, I decided to remove this requirement altogether, so all you have to do now is complete the previous series to unlock the next. And for those who are interested in achievements, there's still plenty of reason to complete them all, as for each challenge you get at least one new item you can wear, and there's also a little secret Easter egg if you manage to complete them all. Another common complaint is the price point. I think a lot of people expected the game to be free for some reason. I guess I can relate though. I also just hate it when they ask me for money at the store. But since fruit is not free, I have to charge for the time I've spent making this game. Jokes aside, the game is currently sitting at $15, and some people felt that it's a bit too pricey versus how much content there is in the game. Now, I can't say I totally disagree with this. I was initially thinking $10 is a fair price, but just like my man Mrs. put it in this video,
Nobody on Steam buys games unless they're on sale. So what you do is you charge an extra $5 for your game and then put it on sale for $5 less.
yeah, so $15. My secret overall goal with this game was to sell 10,000 copies within the first year to call it a financial success and warrant me continuing my game dev journey, and that might sound like a lot, but remember that I've been working for almost 3 years on this game, so if you split it out, it's actually not that much in the end. After only a month though, we've almost hit that goal, so I'm very optimistic and incredibly grateful, so thanks so much to everyone who purchased the game. I really appreciate it. And great news for all you console players out there, I'm currently working on a Switch version of the game. It'll probably be a while before it hits the stores, but rest assured, it's coming. Unfortunately, the infamous freeze bug of death was way more common on the Steam Deck than on regular PCs. This is most likely because the Steam Deck is Linux-based and is emulating the game through Proton. I have no clue why this is happening, and to further the issue, not all Steam Decks seem to have this issue. For example, the game runs perfectly fine on my Steam Deck, but some people are having issues with the instruction videos not showing and other weird bugs. I've been in contact with the Steam team to try and understand what's going on. Since I don't have a dev kit, I can't debug the game on the deck, and also, like I said, the game runs perfectly fine on my deck, so I still wouldn't be able to figure out what's going on. Steam came back and deemed the game as unsupported through their official Steam Deck verification process because the game kept freezing for them. So I asked them for any hint at all as to what might be happening. They then decided to try running the game again, but through a different version of Proton, and that seems to have fixed the issue. They were able to play through the game with no issues whatsoever anymore, and the game is now currently classified as fully playable. And the only reason it didn't get the green checkmark is because the virtual keyboard doesn't pop up automatically when you need to enter your profile name at the beginning of the game. Yeah, I'm not joking. This is literally the only reason it didn't pass as fully verified. Well, I'm really happy that they were at least able to figure out a solution. The version of Proton that they had success with is hopefully now set as the default version when you try and run the game, so you shouldn't have to do anything. But I unfortunately don't have any control over this. It's all up to the Steam team to actually set that version, so I'm trusting that they're handling it on their end. So finally, if you're on the Steam Deck, the game should now be running perfectly fine. Of course, there were loads of other fun bugs in the game right on launch, such as Toby randomly running into the air, the monk kept getting confused, Laser Bob was shooting lasers all over the place, and also if you paused during his laser segment, the timer for the lasers would still count and turn off the lasers during the pause screen. And if you walked far enough, you could actually fall off the floor in the puppet level, and other small fun bugs like that. So a big thanks to everyone for patiently reporting bugs and giving me feedback as you were playing the game. I've been uploading new patches pretty much every single day the first week, just fixing things and improving the game as much as possible. So by now, all of these issues should be fixed. But I'm of course checking the Discord and message boards on Steam every single day to make sure that nothing new is coming up. So if you do find something, please let me know and I will fix it as soon as I can. There's been some great suggestions for other cool things that I ultimately wasn't able to add into the game, such as powered gloves that give you special abilities, or getting the opponent's abilities once you defeat them. I of course agree with this, that would be really awesome, but keep in mind that it would be much harder to balance the game while having to keep in mind that the player has an arsenal of special powers available, and since I'm only one person, it would take a very long time for me to make all of that work properly. More maps would of course be cool as well, and I could see some sort of infinity mode being fun, where you just keep fighting new procedurally generated opponents until you get knocked out to see how far you can get. I'm not saying any of these things are off the table. I will keep making updates to the game and add things as they make sense, but for now, I'm gonna take a well-deserved break and contemplate life for a moment before diving back into game development. I'm just kidding. I've already started doing tutorials in Godot. I'm sick of Unreal Engine, so I'm hoping to use Godot in my next game, because, you know, I hate paying for stuff, and Godot is free. I'm super happy to see you guys discussing bosses and sharing strategies and tips in the Steam discussions. I'm biting my tongue every day and resisting the urge to respond with tips and hints. I think it's cheating if I chime in, since I made the game. It's more fun when it's a community effort anyways, and that's exactly how I wanted the game to be, so I'm so excited to see that this is happening. Well, it's been an incredible ride. Again, thanks so much to everyone who purchased a copy of Punch a Bunch, and to all of you who didn't, I'll put the game on sale again as soon as I can so that you can pick up the game for the true price of $10, baby. So don't forget to put it on your wish list and you'll be notified next time it goes on sale. Thanks for watching my videos, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.
I just got my first online sale and it's the best feeling in the world. Big Cartel just made sense. It's an independent e-commerce platform that actually supports small creators like me. And the setup honestly couldn't have been easy.
In this video, 6 developers are challenged to make the best possible video game in 3 weeks for a prize pool of $3,000. Sadly, there can only be one winner, so it'll be up to these 4 judges to discuss.
I couldn't put it down.
Dissect. Feels like there is quite a bit of potential. Analyze.
It's the first one that I started playing, and even after finishing all the games, I came back to do another run.
And ultimately deciding which 2 devs to brutally eliminate each and every week. This is week 1, the quarterfinals. Each dev will have to base their game on a secret theme. The theme for this week is Strange Machines. Introducing the 6 challengers.
Hello guys, Vitamin here.
Thanks.
Come on guys.
I feel alright. I think I've sussed out the competition. I think there are definitely some competitors, some other people I know nothing about. So I did try to look into the competition a little bit. I do know a few of them, so I know Rug, Ollie, and Wishbone to varying degrees.
I haven't taken a look at the competition just yet, but I know a few of them, and I know it's going to be quite hard, honestly.
When I win, I'll finally be out of debt and I'll be able to afford toilet paper. But until then, I'm going to be using my competition to wipe my ass. No, I'm not talking about you mashup games. I don't even consider you competition. Not after all that trash talk you've been giving me on that Discord server.
I'm mostly worried about the fluffy potato, because if you've seen it's kind of nutty.
Yeah, so thanks Maximum Production for it away.
Strange machines. What an interesting theme. I think I can do something with that. Machines plural.
Make money from your creations. Basically living the indie game dev dream in a couple of months if you're starting out and give it your all. The course is only available for 1 month and there's barely 300 spots available, which means now is the time to leap headfirst into your game making dreams. Don't wait for another tomorrow, guys. If you're really serious about becoming a game creator, this is the time, this is the moment. Oh, and guys, we're offering you $100 discounts for the first 50 students who sign up today, as well as 4 special mastermind meetings with Thomas Brush and ourselves. So guys, don't wait for another tomorrow. Sign up today with the link in the description. But more on that later. Now let's get cracking with developer number 1, Wishbone Games.
Before the theme came out, I was already busy training my game dev skills, so when the time came, I was ready as ever. I want to make something horror themed, so my goal here is to give the judges something completely different to the other contestants, because I already guarantee there's going to be a factory management game or something, and that's just not memorable. So I'm going to fill them with a sense of dread and terror instead, because trauma never leaves you, perfect for making lasting memories. My idea is that there's going to be a heart which is part machine and part flesh, and it's going to be providing you with blood. But where does the blood come from? Well, I'm glad you asked. You're going to have to source it yourself, bring it back to the heart, and throw whatever abomination you found into its horrifying blender. I'm giving you a shotgun which has to feel very powerful, and I love how Amnesia the Bunker does it, so I added some earrings. I also wanted to make each shot count, so I designed a double-barrel shotgun, but the twist is, it only has 1 barrel. This is all set inside a nuclear fallout zone, where the wildlife is disgustingly mutated. In order to find vermin, you use your Geiger counter, which will start clicking if a radioactive creature is nearby. I just love how this thing sounds. Since everything is mutated and it goes into your heart, each vermin will give you a mutation, and this has the added effect of your character needing to have radiation in their blood to survive. When you're carrying something back to the heart, I made the creature still be kicking, fighting for its life, which is made even more disturbing when you have to shred it alive into a million different pieces to harvest its blood, as the heart does not accept corpses. Sound design is the most important thing in a horror game in my opinion, so here's what I have now. I really want to go into the story of this game, but I don't have time right now, so you're gonna have to cross your fingers and toes and hope that I make it to the next round. Oh, I also made this goofy-ass deer, and next week I'll add some predators that will circle you when you're carrying vermin home, so you'll have to either scare them off with your shotgun or try to outrun them. At this point, I was running out of time, so I'll put aside all the rest of my ideas for next week. For the first round of eliminations, I'm pretty confident that I'll survive because I hope the judges will see that this is a very small portion of what I've planned. I also hope to beat mashup games.
Let me introduce you to this little guy. They're a walking, talking USB, which we all know stands for Just Be Willy. The character came about some time ago when I had the idea of a character that could plug themselves into machines and then take them over. And after my idea of freaking people out in the 1800s by taking photos with a modern everyday camera kind of quickly fell apart, I thought it fitting to give this idea a go, considering the theme. The idea I had in mind was a racing game where you race against others through an obstacle course and you can plug yourself into machines to give you new types of movement abilities. But after development, I realised there was a much more impressive and interesting way to go. The goal of the game is to make your way through puzzle rooms, with props and other things at your disposal. And the novelty of this little USB is that you can plug them into body parts and unlock new abilities. Tired of having to walk everywhere? Plug into some wheels and off you go. Want to jump higher? Plug yourself into a pogo stick, and now you can. Feel like you're drowning in the burden and pressure to succeed and progress, and yet you feel like you're going nowhere in life? Well, plug yourself into this fan and you can just fly away from your problems. The game is like a fun little escape room, a mixture between Portal and Kirby, and all the charm I could muster. I mean, look at this little dude. You can't tell him we're going to be eliminated. Break his heart. And there's not any legs you can change either. Sling on some boxing gloves, destroy crates, or knock balls around. Strap on a beating stick, wait, hang on, strap on some beating sticks and throw your arms about to knock all those pesky boxes away. And while you're at it, why not combine them? Stick yourself onto some legs with some arms equipped, and look, you've got yourself the next WA champion. There are so many possibilities of what can be achieved here, and if you vote me into office, I will... Wait, no, that's wrong. If I get through to the next round, I will be exploring further what we can do with this. New body parts, flashing out the current ones, new and big...
With Expedia, the more Ken travels, the more he earns.
Got this car with 1 key cash and Ken math. It was free.
Ken, in Italy, they also drive on the right.
Me scusi.
Expedia, the one place you go to go places.
You're leaving money on the table. Not because your content isn't good, but because the tools you're using weren't built to help you earn sustainable revenue. Beehive is the all-in-one newsletter platform to run your digital business. Design your newsletter, build your site, grow your audience, and actually get paid without touching a line of code. Beehive gives you a digital home base where anyone can discover all your content, plus the tools to grow your audience and monetize on your own terms. Built-in referral programs, paid subscriptions, sponsorships, digital products. Everything you need to grow and get paid all in one place. The creators who switched to Beehive? Wave.
So I've actually never spoken publicly about my exit from New York until today. Piecing all these things together, I don't know how big of a hand, but he probably had a hand in me not coming back to the Knicks.
Wow, I've never heard this before. Was it something that you would have loved to see differently from me as your teammate in those moments? Peace, welcome back to 7 p.m. in Brooklyn. I'm Carmelo Anthony here with my co-host.
Boy, you with Durag, you know who's to my left. Hello, it is your boy Kaz here. This is a Wave original presented by FanDuel. Yes, I messed up my whole intro. It's been months since we've been back here. It's because this is legitimately one of the most anticipated episodes I think we've done. A setup here in Brooklyn ever. So Melo, I'm not gonna waste no time. Go for it, brother.
Today, our guest is responsible for one of the most unforgettable runs in NBA history. One of those moments where New York stopped, the basketball world stopped, and everybody was watching. And Insanity was bigger than the hot streak. It became a New York story, a basketball story, a media story, and for a lot of people, a story about me and him that has been debated for over about a decade. So today we're finally having a conversation ourselves. The rise, the tension, the locker room, the narratives, all of it. Fuck with it, fuck out of here. You know what we doing 7 p.m.
Yeah.
Jeremy Lin, welcome to the
The most requested guest of all time. Since the beginning of this show. The comments go crazy. Oh, man. Who y'all want to hit? Who y'all want to see? Spamming. I feel like the city needs really good vibes right now. So, like, as they're watching this is the good vibes you need. Just this couch right here. But yo, man, you was back in the Garden last night, bro. First time in since everything. How was it?
It was the Garden. It was energy, constant energy, and they, first time going back in 14 years as a spectator, so had a lot of fun, just feeling the crowd, the energy again. Obviously disappointing game, but they'll be all right. They'll get game 4.
You get glazed all crazy. It seems real good. It was like, yo.
Yeah, I was on the Sky Bridge, so I had to do some media and the nosebleeds, and they're loud in the nosebleeds, and so they showed a lot of love. So it was great all around.
Yeah, you picked a hell of a day to come back. Let's not waste no time, man. We got Melo here. We got Jeremy here. Let's get right to it. For years, the story has been that there's tension between you two, and that Melo was jealous during Insanity. So let's just start there. Jeremy, did it ever feel in real time like Melo had an issue with what was happening during the famed Insanity run?
Yeah, first off, I appreciate Melo was on vacation and was gracious enough to lend me an hour and 15 minutes of his time just to talk before this. Have a private conversation, maybe 13, 14 years in the making. And that was amazing. So, I wanted to, I asked every last question I had. Did that happen? What happened there? What happened here? But it was honest. It was direct. It was honest, and we were able to definitely clear the air. Obviously, perception is reality, so you kind of only know. And that's the thing about that whole stretch was there was a lot that I was unsure about. And so the narratives come, but to be able to talk it out, I appreciate that. And so my biggest thing was like when I think back on my career, because I recently retired, I've never wanted my story
until it's needed. And what I mean by saying that is time goes by, and now the narrative that people wrote about us, right, becomes almost this, damn, what really did happen, right? Because now he's moved on, I've moved on. What really did happen? So that question always lingered there. So now when people that may be around the situation, everybody's stories, they start to tell their experience of that time around. So if you have any questions about what happened or what was going on, you start to try to put this whole story, because you don't know. So you start to try to piece your own story together. But with that becomes questions. And I think over the 14 years, he had the courage to start to right now come and ask those questions. Yo, let's talk about this. Hey, what about this moment right here? Did we see eye to eye right here? Or was I bugging or was you bugging? Like, we were able to identify very specific moments that he probably thought that I forgot about. But I was very clear on every moment and every question that he had when it came to me. So it makes this easy now to have good conversation because you handled it and you dealt with it and you cleared the air
Well, now he could be at peace, right? For so long, I was at peace because I was just like, I don't know what the fuck people talking about, right? Maybe I was naive, right, over the years, but that wasn't something that I was concerned about, or not concerned, but like thinking about. And then what really did happen to me, it wasn't something I was thinking about because I was still moving in my career, right? So I'm just glad, like you said, man, 14 years, you get to clear the air, you get to ask every question that you ever had about his experience here in New York to me directly, and I give you that time to answer it as transparently as possible.
So now, like you said, like you had that conversation, you hashed it out. So back in that time, was there any point during that run where you felt a way about it? You know what I'm saying? If yes, you know, what made you feel a way about it? And if not, why do you think that narrative came about?
So you gotta understand the way that it happened, the way that it transpired. I got hurt, and then he comes in the play, right? We on the back to back or some shit like that, right? So now shit is happening so fast. Nobody knows what's next. Dan don't know what to do next. He don't know who to go to next. No, who you want to go? You ain't got no choice. He done, I'm done. You ain't got no choice. Go do that. So now, when you deal with that part of it, but now I gotta get healthy. No, I don't know what's about to happen. He probably believed what was about to happen internally, right?
Not to that level. I didn't.
Like,
I can play. I can help. I knew that, but I didn't know.
Nobody thought that, believed that. If any fan or anybody tell you that, they're lying to you. But what we had to do was figure it out. I had to figure my shit. I was injured. I was hurt. I had to think about how fast I'm gonna come back, what I'm gonna do, how the fuck I'm gonna help this team, how I gotta lead this team. I'm in a different position than he is.
Yeah.
So I gotta deal with a whole bunch of shit. Forget being jealous of what he's doing. I want him to keep going. Me talking about him to him. So they asked him, he said, I don't know who the fuck is Jeremy Lin. Right? That was the narrative. So I say, he brought that up, and I say that to say, it was always because nobody knew, but I was a part of it. Nah, this shit is over. You better watch out. They go from joking about it, like, yo, that nigga coming to bust your ass, to like really standing on it and like, oh shit, this could be something.
Yeah.
So now when you realize this could be something, now the pressure's on me to get that right, or continue getting right. I gotta do in the court of this motherfucker, because if this is what we're doing, then I gotta become a fan and a teammate at the same time. Now, was everything perfect? No, everything wasn't perfect. I can't sit and say everything was perfect. He was going in one direction, I'm in a whole nother direction. Two men trying to figure this shit out from two different perspectives. But my hat is a lot wider than what his hat is at that point in time.
Right. But what we're seeing at that time is, I mean,
I don't remember the timing.
It was like, I remember specifically that Kobe game being like he's for real. You know what I mean? So, from your perspective, like, you understand, like, Melo is the leader of the team, trying to get back, but you're going through this thing that nobody's ever seen before. And it just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. During any part of that time, are you thinking, like, you know what? Nah, like, this should be me. Like, I should be running the show. Like, look what's happening around here.
To me, there was no doubt. So my rookie year, I had a horrible year because I had imposter syndrome. Like, I didn't come from a background where anybody ever said you could make the NBA. Or that was never a reality. It was like, you're crazy. Like, you think you can make the NBA? So for me to actually be in that space, I was like, oh, I made it. Like, but my second year with the Knicks, that's when I was like, you know, I'm having like almost 30-point triple doubles in the D League. Like, every time I get in during garbage time, I'm making something happen. Like, I truly believe I'm going to contribute. I did not expect to contribute whatever my stats were during that stretch. I didn't expect I was going to do that fast, but I knew in my soul, like, you're an NBA player. I think what was difficult was, as what Melo's referring to, guys are dropping like flies. It's a you know, it's one of those lockout seasons, and then all of a sudden,
horrible year.
And then
I think Amari was out. Who else was out?
BD was struggling with some stuff. BD was struggling with some stuff. Him, Stat, they were both out. And so
Douglas also was
Tony Douglas was over too, struggling, but
It's not bad. He's immortal.
Supergirl.
On 3. Liberty Mutual customizes car insurance to help people save hundreds. 1, 2, 3.
Liberty Mutual help you
Nailed it. Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
My name's Dane. I make cool posters and t-shirts. And I'm going to teach you exactly how to do it in 30 seconds because you have the collective attention span of a toddler.
But by the time that, the first few games came around, and this is something we had talked about, but by the time that we were starting to figure it out and you were starting to come back healthy, you felt the pressure, I got to get back healthy. I got to help the team. But we're also figuring out, realistically, this is not, I don't think this is, debatable. It's, your style or what you need and my style and what I need, they are not on court the best, the perfect match, right? I am a pick and roll player, I'm ball heavy, ball dominant, and you are maybe the best mid-post isolation scorer. Not just to say that's the only thing that you can do, but you are elite at that. And so these two styles are realistically not something that is going to naturally mesh. So you got to work on meshing at it. Mm-hmm. And so now we're kind of in this space, and we don't really know how to move, and everyone's kind of trying to figure it out. So I'm trying to figure out, people are like, what are you thinking about? Let me tell you what I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about the guaranteed date. Because they can still cut me. After my first 2, 3, 4 games, they can still cut me. Right. Until the day, if I go down, if we play the Lakers and I go down with a season-ending injury, I'm getting waived. I'm not thinking all these other things that everybody's thinking about. It's I'm literally just trying to make it. And so that's where my mind is at. And he's a franchise player who has to think about the direction of the organization and getting all these pieces together. And, something you said over the phone is hey, is Jeremy the missing piece? So you're thinking about all these things holistically and also the pressure on you to come back, get back and figure out how we're going to figure all of this out together. Because, obviously Stat, TY, they got their own different styles as well. And so that's kind of the complexity of the situation, right? A lot of moving parts, and all of a sudden, I wouldn't even say our coaching staff was aligned either. Oh, right?
I was going to go there next.
Yeah, so our coaching staff isn't aligned, and
so this is D'Antoni, this is
Woody,
brother, Woody, D'Antoni's brother.
Yep.
Phil's in the front office.
So there's a lot going on.
No, we had Coach Phil.
Yeah.
This was saying this was D'Antoni's crew. Gotcha.
So I do, the reality is, and correct me if I'm overspeaking, but I do think you felt a pressure of I need to get back and prove and figure out what I'm going to bring to the team because I'm hurt and they're moving in this direction. I'm feeling the pressure of okay, I'm rookie minimum, and at the end of the day, how do I help what it is that the big three have already started with this organization? And so, again, I was just so new to the and so green, we didn't always have the toughest conversations, and we didn't have the environment where we were really talking about things openly either on that team. And so a lot of it was guesswork. But yeah, it wasn't easy. Like it wasn't easy and it wasn't perfect.
It was. So that's from his perspective. But it wasn't like D'Antoni had him in rotation or like, oh, we going to Jeremy Lin and we gonna play. No, all of this shit is happening in quick time. So as I'm coming back, I gotta come back healthy to really figure this shit out because I know at the end of the day, this ain't gonna be on him. This shit is on me. So whatever happens, if it don't work out, they can say, oh, Jeremy Lin had a good run and Sandy move on. That's what could have happened. So the pressure on me to come back, lead this team, and figure out, oh, if he's going to be the guy, which I told him, this was front office. Right. Listen, if this is who's going to be the guy, we got to figure this out. I'm going to figure this out, but you have to tell me if this is winning. Right? We found something out of nothing in a sense. We was down and out. They was wearing the bags over their heads at our games. I remember vividly. Right? So now we get this golden nugget coming in here and revitalize just the energy that we all need. And I think
You could have been a great player that, comes out of nowhere in any other city. But the fact that you did it here multiplied everything. And all those narratives that sort of probably made it uncomfortable for y'all to talk, especially you, is exacerbated at that point, right? Like, you're the biggest star in sports out of nowhere. And you're still on Landry Field's couch or Steve Novak's couch?
Yeah, it was Landry's couch.
It was Landry's couch?
Small couch, literally this size right there. And my feet hanging out.
That's nuts. So, I mean, I just love to know, with y'all two, on the outside looking in, when you break it down on the basketball term, yeah, it probably makes sense just style-wise. Like, why would it mesh? But us being fans, us being people watching it, and especially it being in New York, your ascension and then hoping Melo gets back just gave everybody hope. I remember leading up to that Miami game where everyone just kind of the Knicks might actually have something there.
Yeah, so I'm going to cut you off real quick now.
Please.
Real quick. Because he mentioned style-wise.
Yes.
Didn't work. Or had to figure it out.
Right.
The thing about with style-wise, when I was playing, it was a way. Me, Amari, Stat played a certain way. And we played the way. Now he come in, now it's a whole nother way, right? And I'm out the game. So what ends up happening is, as a fan, media, you start to put the question out there, what style is, what style you gravitating toward at that moment. Right? So now you put these styles against each other and you're making people pick a side of what style of play you want for the New York Knicks. So you have that style and then you have my style of play. Right? So now you gotta pick and choose because they put that wedge in there. Yeah. So the narrative becomes stronger. If I'm playing this way in the course of the game, he's playing this way in the course of the game, which we both could do.
And I think that's the thing is when we talked about this one conversation where me, Melo, Stat, and T.Y., Tyson Chandler, T.Y., we were all finally, four of us, healthy, and we met before a road game against the Bucks. And us were aligned on this is what we're going to try to do because not everybody, but we have different styles. You can play the run and gun, 7 seconds or less, pick and roll, or you can go more get the ball to Melo, let you cook, let you do your thing in the style that you have. They're not necessarily mutually exclusive. It's not to say that they can't coexist together. It takes extra work, and it takes extra reps for it to coexist together and for it to exist together well. And I think that's the part where we had to really figure that out. There is it takes a lot of work and intentionality to get there. And so it's not to say that we weren't trying.
Yeah.
We were trying.
But we also didn't have the leadership to help us.
We did have the leadership.
Figure this shit out.
And also, I don't think that, and this is my perspective, I don't think us four were close enough
to figure it out.
Right. And so to say that all four of us showed up and we're on the same page, I don't think that's true.
No.
I think we all showed up with the intention of how can we try to get on the same page, because we were 8-15 in 10th place, and every game fans would come down, boo us, throw something at us, tell us to suck on their way out, and we're down 20. That's the reality of what we were looking at. And so it was the intentionality to try to figure it out was there. But yeah, it's not easy, man. It's not easy.
It's difficult. It's funny as shit now. We older now. You ain't you're really not looking at it. I'm saying what I'm about to say is funny. Because when you go from